early visitors in Canada included the Vikings and John Cabot. At the beginning of the 11th century, the Vikings arrived from Scandinavia. Later, in 1497, John Cabot arrived and discovered Newfoundland while trying to find a route to Asia. He also discovered the Grand Banks, which is a place rich with cod. Jacques Cartier was asked by the king to look for the Northwest Passage. On his journey, he kidnapped Iroquois people and used them as guides to the St. Lawrence River. That winter, many people died from scurvy, but the Iroquois taught Cartier a tea remedy which saved many. He then kidnapped the Iroquois again and brought them back to France, where they died from many diseases. Long before any explorer set foot to Canada, our country was a home to the Aboriginals. There was many different groups such as the Inuit of the Arctic, the Iroquois of the woodlands, and the people of the plains. There was hundreds of languages, and all of the Aboriginals had spiritual beliefs. And if they were to kill an animal, they would make sure to use every single part of the animal and always remember to give thanks, so they would never take anything for granted. The Europeans were making a lot of money from fishing, but they wanted to make even more profit, so they thought of the fur trade. The fur trade was a business where you could trade fancy furs, tobacco, clothing, or metal for something else. The natives joined in on the idea of the fur trade and traded their beads, furs, tools, and other stuff. Samuel de Champlain started a settlement in Quebec. In 1604, he started a trading post in Nova Scotia called the Port Royal. The Port Royal was closed by the lack of goods that were earned in 1605. Later, he led an expedition up the St. Lawrence River, which is now known as Quebec City. In 1609, he joined with the Algonquian raid against the Iroquois. The French then joined and helped them win several battles. When Champlain died, European countries worked hard to extend imperial interest around the world. In the late 1600s, Holland lost its colony to the English, and all the 13 English colonies started to grow rapidly. Later, the company of 100 associates was required to bring settlers to Canada and establish souvenirs. The company was all over the fur trading business. They did not succeed the fur trading business and fell into bankruptcy. The Jesuits were Roman Catholic priests. They would go to the furthest extent to spread the influence of the church. Latin and French were the only languages they knew, and they found learning other cultures difficult. They tried to stay out of the politics, but the Hurons converted to Christianity to become part of the fur trade. Many joined the church and came to live near the Jesuits. Mercantilism became popular around the 1500s. They believed there was a limited amount of wealth in the world, and it was their job to fix it for their country. Their main interest was to gain power and get money. Jean Talon was New France's first intendant. He was aware that New France needed settlers and a good defense system and a basic industry. New France became safer from the arrival of many French soldiers. Later, hundreds of women came and settled in Canada. Talon accomplished the role of the colony in the mercantile system. He also established lumber mills, a brewery, and a tannery. He made trade more easier. All of the things he did made New France stronger. Life in New France was firmly anchored in the seigneurial system. A lord would be granted land and be given everything on it. Farmers could still live on the land as long as they paid their fees. The seigneurs were not greedy. They would only take what they needed. Most of them worked on the fur trade, which had a good income. Life was all over happy for everyone. France built the great fortress of Louisbourg to protect the valuable river route, and so they could overlook the St. Lawrence River. The walls were built to deflect cannonballs. Unfortunately, Louisbourg had some disadvantages. It could be attacked by cannon fire, and it was easily approachable by boat. The walls crumbled easily and took a long time to set. Unfortunately, in 1745, Louisbourg was attacked by the New Englanders and took down the wall.